Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
You know, this is a real program, TV program.
Yeah.
Mike Elko, the man who made that quote,
Yeah.
will be right there today on
Really?
the show. It's my understanding.
On our real program.
On our real program. Yep. He's going to be sitting probably right in that area.
So, all right. Well, that's exciting. You know, you always want to have an audience. Is that the way to say it? With the big man in charge.
The big man in charge on this show, Billy Liucci. Shout out to our fearless leader. Set it up.
The big men in charge.
Yeah. I'll definitely intro the segment.
Yeah.
And I'll let those two chat. Anyway, welcome into TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And OB, this hour has a name.
This is the Go Hour. Oh, TexAgs Live, you know, and the Go Hour of TexAgs Live.
Right. Presented by the Warehouse.
At CNC Creations.
That is correct. Collin Klein to K-State.
Congratulations to Collin Klein. I think a lot of guys, you know, obviously almost everybody in coaching wants to be a head coach. And when you get to be a head coach at your alma mater,
What an awesome feeling, right?
Great. But Collin is going to stay through the playoffs. So hopefully he will not be taking over at Kansas State till around January 20th.
Yeah, I find it fascinating. Programs like Penn State, maybe not as much K-State, but a little bit K-State, of like, you don't know your future. And how do you do signing day a couple days ago, right? Like, how do you finish the job?
You know,
with NIL, I guess it doesn't matter as much.
Right. That's exactly right. NIL, transfer portal, all those things. Without a doubt, recruiting is still vital.
Yeah.
You know, it's still for the most part like your lifeblood of your program. But you look at Ole Miss, and they, you know, they're in the playoff and they live on the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So maybe it sets you behind, but not as far back as it used to.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So now what does the A&M do? I don't think we'll get clarity today from Coach Elko, but you know, he's got to figure out what he does at that position. Does he open up a nationwide search trying to find the best offensive coordinator? Does he promote from within? Is this a fast process? Is it a slow process? Portals opening up, obviously. So there's a lot of things that are at play right now.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I expect that Mike Elko is going to do the right thing. He's going to do what he's comfortable with, and I'm not saying he's perfect, but typically
he's hit pretty well.
He's got a good average, and so if he decides there's somebody on his staff that deserves a promotion or at least a look, then great, you know, because everybody who's great as a defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator had to have someone give them a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a guy on the staff right now who will be, when given a chance, the best coordinator in the country in a few years.
Right.
Kind of like Brian Hartline was at Ohio State. You know, that guy, for years, he was a receivers coach. Well, he finally got a chance and did really well. Now he's a head coach. So, but if Mike Elko decides the best things for the program is to look elsewhere, I'm confident that he will bring in his mind, the very best guy available that he can get.
Yep.
So I'm not too worried about it.
I'm not worried about it as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it's from within, but if he decides to go outside, I think there will be a lot of suitors for this position.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, there's all kinds of potential that is finally being reached at this program, and anybody can see it. Plus, A&M has shown that they're going to do everything they can to bring in the players necessary to make that offense explosive, like they did this year. And I don't think it's going to be a one-year thing. They're probably already, got a big chart of the fastest receivers out there to pursue.
Yeah, and by the way, those receivers and quarterback getting a little bit of national love. We'll hear from Reese Nygren about that here in a moment. OB, I think it is time to do the 3 things we want to see, brought to you by our friends at the Brazos Running Company, locally owned, Aggie-owned, operated specialty running store with an outstanding selection of running gear and shoes, including Brooks, On, and Hoka. And they've got a new company. Mike's daughters, Macy and Haley, masonhay.com is their new website. And they're 2 Aggie sisters, native to College Station, 4th-generation Aggies, and they've started a pajama company. So if you want to get a cool baby blankets, or you want some pajamas, or some of the most recent stationery that they have, check out masonhay.com. 3 things we want to see, not from this search, OB, but just from the Aggies in general as they enter the playoffs.
Well, I want to see them play stronger run defense. Number one. I want to see them. I would love to see Le'Veon Moss back in the lineup.
Me too. Gosh, me too.
And I would love to see in the playoffs that pass rush look and play like the nation's best pass rush.
Yeah. We didn't see the last. Well, we saw it for a moment. We saw it in chunks.
Yeah, look, Texas did a really good job in pass protection.
Yeah, they did.
Game. Based on what A&M had done in the pass rush and what Texas had not done in pass protection, I was expecting more than 2 sacks.
I was too. Here are my 3. Let's completely eradicate ourselves from the dumb penalties. Okay, let's cut down on penalties. It's been a problem. I don't know if that game looks completely different against Texas if you take away a couple of those penalties, but maybe they don't score a touchdown. Texas doesn't score a touchdown. Maybe you score a touchdown and not have to settle for a field goal.
I cannot understand like false starts happen. I'll never understand ever why they happen in the red zone, because I would think that's when, as a player, you get more focused, even more focused. I'm in the red zone. Right. We're about to score. I'm with you on that.
Yep. So let's get that. Let's figure out this defensive alignment issue, okay? Because if it is a misfit situation, let's fit and get rid of the miss.
Yeah. It's been an issue all year. I'll say this: I don't expect it to completely go away.
No.
All right. But I'll say this: I have tons of faith in Elko, and especially as a defensive coach too. Give him 3 weeks to really focus on it, and I'm expecting to see improvement. I'm not saying you won't see somebody break off a 20, 30-yard run. I hope you don't. But I do think that he will be able to focus enough on this. I'm sure that was a big focus all of last week on tightening up that run defense.
The other thing, it seems like the last bit of the season, turnovers were a little bit more of an issue than early on. Let's fix these turnovers, especially in the fourth quarter when you're driving against your rival.
Turnovers are never good, and hopefully they'll start getting some come their way. A&M, I don't know this, but I bet you if you looked at all the teams that were in the top 12 that are projected to be in the playoff, I don't know this. I could be dead wrong on this, but I would bet A&M's probably forced the fewest turnovers among those.
You want to look that up for us here?
Teams. Again, I may be dead wrong. I'm just, because I haven't looked.
It just feels like it.
It just feels like it.
Yeah. By the way, we are hanging out at the
Holistic Planning Cool zone.
Very cool to hang out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. If you want to be a part of the conversation this morning, we want to hear from you. 979-693-1150. If you call that number, we'll pick it up on the Buppy's Catering and
Bartending.
Hotline, 979-693-1150. Thank you very much for finishing this NSOB. And what else? Should we go left, right, around the room?
Around the room.
Let's go around the room, go through the glass, which there is no glass.
There's no glass.
But there's glass on television. We say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, good morning.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
How are you?
Good. I just want to touch on something y'all mentioned at the beginning of the segment, just how how Penn State is in such a bad spot. National Signing Day, this early signing period, guess how many players they have signed?
3.
2.
Oh.
2.
They signed 2 players in this this early signing period.
They were the first.
And there's still no head coach in sight.
Well, James Franklin took like a dozen with him.
Yeah.
Who had committed, so they're going to Virginia Tech now.
Good for him.
Yeah, they screwed up royally by firing somebody who's been a successful coach.
I don't think they should have fired him, regardless of the way the season felt like it was going. I think this guy was in the Final Four last year. I don't think you fire him.
I think and obviously they didn't have a plan B. I think their plan B must have been Elko. Just assume he's going to come in.
Yeah.
Unless Galen DeBoer finds his way to Happy Valley.
Well, he said no yesterday. He said, I don't know where these rumors are coming from, but nah.
Okay, well, and maybe that's true, but I don't know if you've ever known this, but
coaches lie.
And or exaggerate or fib or however you want to put it. And he strikes me as being a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Hey, I was listening to the B team yesterday, Nick. I know you weren't producing it. I know that's Cade, but I heard something that caught my attention. And they were talking about eating a whole crumble cake. And they were like,
wait, crumble cake?
That's what they do every Thursday. They do some sort of eating challenge.
Yeah. Like crumble's a cookie, but they make it into a cake too? Am I right? I don't know the crumble community.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
They're also big BYU donors.
Yeah, they are. BYU donors.
Okay. I didn't know that either. Okay. I mean, my kids love crumble. My wife loves crumble. I dabbled in it. But the fact, I'm making it about me, okay? I know we're not supposed to. The fact that they didn't bring up the cake master, the guy who's taking down a cake right here. Not even a mention. 800 calories. I don't know if we can do that. Are you kidding me? I took down 1,200 calories on this show.
I'm still incredulous that they would pay you to do that. Basically, you got paid to do a layup.
It wasn't a layup.
So, David, we can start calling you the cake eating master.
It may not have been a layup for you.
Cake by the ocean. Sorry, go ahead.
It may not have been a layup for you, but that's a layup for me.
It's not a layup, bro. You will feel like absolute.
I feel like that every day of my life.
Yeah, you'll feel worse. Okay, here, I got it for you. $30. You want to eat a cake? I'll send Reese right now to go.
$30?
$30.
You came up with, I got, what, about 100 times that?
Yeah, but you would eat a cake. I wouldn't. That's why I got paid it.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, okay, $3,000 to go run 12 miles right now.
$3,000 to run 12 miles.
Yeah, right now, nonstop. Right.
Well, I still got the job in front of me.
Anyway, let's get back on track. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Reese Nygren. Hello, sir.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Twice in a week, is that right?
This is 3.
3?
I was here on early National Signing Day, even though I said like 5 words.
That's right.
I was here.
I said 9.
Yeah.
So, and I'm the host. Hey, what's up?
So y'all were talking about the turnovers A&M compared to playoff teams.
Again, I could be dead wrong on that.
When it comes to turnover margin, they are the worst of projected playoff teams. They're 113th in the country with a -7 turnover margin. The next closest is Oklahoma and Ole Miss at 80th, and they're both at -2.
So that tells me, because you could be, well, that just tells me they don't get a lot of turnovers. I think I may be wrong. I think I remember like 3 interceptions all year. I know Scooby had 1. I know Dalton Brooks had 1. I think another linebacker had 1. I can't, because I remember at one point.
Sanford had 1, right?
Was it Sanford?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sanford.
They have 3.
Oh, so okay, 3 interceptions, and then they've recovered a few fumbles. So I'm thinking they probably forced 8 turnovers or less all year.
They forced 9. 6 fumbles and 3 interceptions.
Okay.
They can force some fumbles, though.
Yeah, they can.
So that may, and I mean, for a team that is as good as A&M, to me, that's stunning. Because usually really good teams, part of being good, and coaches will always tell you this, what do they say about the biggest or statistic that's most or that aligns most with winning and losing?
Turnovers.
It's turnovers.
Yep.
To only force 9 all year and to have 11 wins, that's
Mr. Nygren,
That's surprising.
I know we got some track and field news.
We do have some track and field news. After a successful 2025 season that saw the men win the outdoor national championship and the program's first SEC indoor title, as well as the women finishing third in the outdoor championship, the Texas A&M track and field teams opened their season on Saturday, hosting at the McFerrin Invitational at the R.A. Murray Faskin Indoor Track and Field Facility. Field events will begin at 2 p.m. and track events are set to begin at 4 p.m. The other teams competing are UTSA, Abilene Christian, Sam Houston, and SMU.
What field events take place indoors? Okay, shot put, I can see that.
I mean,
You'd be sitting there.
The jumping events.
Oh, yeah. You could be sitting there, enjoying a soda, talking to somebody, and all of a sudden a javelin. Just get your
I don't think they throw it into the stands. I don't think that's how it works.
Someone throws the hammer, I'm talking, hey, they
may throw it at you. They may throw it. Hey, we've got some volleyball too, right?
We do have some volleyball tonight. For the first time since 2019, playoff volleyball will be played at Reed Arena. Tonight at 6 p.m., Jamie Morrison and co. will face off against the Campbell Camels in front of the Aggie faithful. This season at home, the Aggies are 9-1 and have seen the largest crowd in program history for a single game when they beat Texas. When the Aggies win, they will face off again on Saturday against the winner of the TCU versus SFA matchup, which will take place at 4 p.m. today.
Got to get over that hump. Come on, Aggies. Get over the hump.
At least it's not on a Wednesday, right?
Yeah, it'd be perfect if it was, but yeah.
All right, let's hit a break. Let's get back on track. The show's off the rails. It's a Friday. And, all right. Would a camel, I don't know why, would a camel eat at 1775? I don't know what they eat, actually.
Yeah, I don't know what
idea.
a
I've never done
camel eats,
research.
But,
Reese, what does a camel eat? Ask our friends on AI or Google.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're probably omnivores.
I don't know. Probably like a horse, right?
Yeah.
But I know this.
Are they part of the horse community?
They're probably like a horse or a llama, probably.
According to the Google search, camels are herbivores that eat tough, thorny desert vegetation like grasses, leaves, and shrubs.
So they probably wouldn't appreciate
cacti.
1775.
Probably
No,
not a
but you know
camel.
what? I know I would ride a camel all the way to 1775.
Can you show me what that would look like riding a camel?
I've never ridden one. It seems like everybody's up high, But I would ride.
Just give it a little pat.
I would ride a camel. You know what? I bet you could get about 15 camels that would love to go eat at 1775, or however many are on scholarship at Campbell University. I mean, why wouldn't you want to? How often does Campbell, is that like in North Carolina or someplace like that? I don't know where Campbell.
I don't even think they know.
But I'm saying this. I hear about Texas, they're North Carolina, which they don't know what good barbecue is. They think
they don't.
They'll throw some mustard sauce on top of some pork and call it. No, I've heard about Texas barbecue. I want to find out what it's like. I'm from Campbell. I'm a camel. I want to go and check it out at 1775, get the best Texas barbecue out there. What a great opportunity. But I would still, if I had to, I would ride a camel all the way down towards Snook, not to Snook, just going in that direction.
Yeah, I agree.
And looking off to the left. Plus, there's, it's a crowd. It's often crowded.
This is true.
With a lot of cars, you could just tie
your
that camel up. I think there's something with the A&M veterinary school not too far away.
You can just drop it off?
Yeah, drop him off. They can maybe check him out, too.
I think we've taken this camel thing as far as we can take it.
But you know what? I'd take it all the way to 1775.
Omnivores, they just eat, they don't eat
everything.
Macaroni, do they?
Oh, everybody eats macaroni.
Okay.
The queso mac and cheese. Every omnivore, carnivore,
ellipticore.
Yeah. Eat
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
32-minute live spot, 1775, txbbq.com. Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. You remember when we learned what the song was about?
Yeah.
It's great that I had no clue. I was singing it, around the kids. It was great.
I like cake. I'll eat cake by the ocean. I have cake by the pool. I'll have, cake in the living room, on the couch.
You just won't get paid $3,000 for it.
I thought it was $3,500.
Something like that. It's like 32.
Yeah. No one's going to pay me. Now, all you have to do is eat cake, which is an enjoyable experience. I had to get a full sleeve tattoo, and then it became earrings. I'm surprised they didn't ask me to get a nose rings like those blue-haired chicks get these days. I'm surprised.
St. Louis?
And then they still didn't come through with the dough.
It is time to bank on it, OB, and I don't know what we're banking on. We're not playing any games this weekend, but we have other sports that are playing. Presented by Vera Bank, authentic relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more. VeraBank.com.
Well, that Aggie basketball team, those guys have been they've been hitting a bunch of 3-pointers.
Yep.
And they're about to enter their third straight game. I know they've got like a 5-game winning streak, but the third straight game they're going to be entering on Sunday against an ACC opponent.
Yep.
So I am banking on threes to be wild again. A lot of 3-pointers for A&M to win a third straight game against against ACC competition.
Okay. This is what I'm banking on.
9 or more.
I'm banking on a position or an opponent we have not discussed yet. What I mean by that, for the college football playoff rankings, I think we all think.
Notre Dame?
We're like locked into like, man, we're 7, we're going to play Alabama or Notre Dame. I don't know why I sound like I'm falling asleep, but like, we're drunk. But I think it's going to be like, we're just not thinking about what it's going to be. Like, we have discussed Miami, all right? So maybe it's Miami. But I don't think what we're seeing out there as like the projections as of today will be what we get on Sunday. It's going to be the old switcheroo.
Okay.
And look, I know some of the criteria has changed from year to year, but I had Reese Nygren at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center to just kind of like look at what last year's Week 14 rankings looked like, and then what 15 looked like after the conference championship games. Again, Georgia beats Texas. There was a big shift because of that, right? So there are other parts that could make it a little bit different, but I just wanted to show you that some of the positions changed. So Nygren, tell me some of the differences if you can.
Yeah, so last year, after the end of the regular season, Notre Dame was number 4. They ended up dropping down to number 5 because Georgia, who was number 5, won the SEC, jumped up to number 2, and then the top 4 with Oregon, Texas, Georgia, Penn State stayed the same. So Notre Dame went to 5. And then the only other idle team to move was Indiana. They jumped from 9 to 8 after SMU, who was 8 at the end of the regular season, lost in the ACC championship. So those are the only 2 idle teams that moved positions last year.
I don't know how much that correlates to this year, but there's going to be some shifting because of what happens. So like everybody is just basing like this 14 Week 14's rankings as this is what it's going to be. No, there will be some shifting. How much of that will involve A&M? I don't know. Now, we did discuss, Reese, so CBS Sports still has A&M playing Virginia, which I don't understand how, unless A&M were to move up, right? Because Virginia, more than likely, if they beat Duke, would have to play the 6.
Yeah, they'd have to play the 6 as the 11 seed.
Okay, so who do they have winning like the Big 12 championship game at CBS?
I can look it up.
I'm thinking, well, how does A&M move up without Ole Miss playing, without A&M playing? Okay, well, maybe they're saying that BYU is going to win and doesn't jump all the way into the top, doesn't get that high, and Texas Tech falls, or maybe who else could? Because Alabama's already behind A&M. I don't see Indiana falling.
I think BYU losing or beating Texas Tech might be the only way that A&M jumps up.
So they're probably picking BYU to beat Tech.
Yeah,
and
then the question becomes, how much are you moving BYU up? Because they're number 11 right now. So how much are you moving a 12-1 BYU up, who got revenge for their only loss in the regular season? And then what do you do with a 2-loss Texas Tech?
That would be interesting to see what happens to a 2-loss Texas
There's
Tech.
150 new articles on CBS, so I'm not going to spend the time looking for it during a segment. But the bottom line is,
I'm going to go into
there's going to
it.
be some shifting that we are just not seeing right now, and that's why I'm banking on.
I'm going to go into it with the idea that Texas A&M is going to be the 7th seed, and if something changes for the better, great. But it's really hard for me to see how they're going to move up unless Texas Tech loses.
Right.
And even then, who knows about this committee?
How does Notre Dame get left out?
Notre Dame gets left out, I think, if Alabama loses. I don't think Alabama
I don't think Alabama's going to get out if they lose. Do you?
No.
Unless they get destroyed.
Yeah, unless they lose.
Here's
by
the
like
whole thing with that is
50.
Miami's what, 12?
Yeah, they're 10-2, so they need They need to jump up 2 spots.
Yeah.
They need to get to that point though
Where they're in the same pod.
They're in the same pod, which again is the most ridiculous argument because you're the ones that decide what pod they're in. But if you get them to so close where they have the same record, and again, if you're Arkansas, how can you watch? If you're an Arkansas fan, how can you watch this every week and look at
Your athletic director.
the crap that this guy spews and thinks, oh my God, our athletic program is in the hands of this nincompoop.
What I don't understand is like,
I feel for you, Razorbacks.
I think what happens is this is like a little hobby for them. Like they don't really do the research and they don't really know the bylaws and what they're supposed to do. So for instance, if you and I did something that we didn't really prepare for and we just and they asked us a couple questions, that'll be easy. Like, yeah, this team's 10 because and this team's 9. And then like real questions come and you're like, oh bro, 6, 7.
How do you say, well, yeah, I know that Miami has the same record as Notre Dame, and I know that Miami beat Notre Dame, but we don't compare them because we have them ranked apart.
Right.
So like what are you talking about?
If BYU loses, BYU's 11, Miami's 12. Then does Miami jump to 11, and then they're directly compared to each other,
right? And then
because they're 10 and 11, and then all of a sudden does Notre Dame drop 2 spots?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yeah. So if Texas Tech wins, you put another loss on BYU. Yeah, that would make sense that they would lose, and now you have Notre Dame and Miami right next to each other, and
then
so
you have to take Miami.
You would think.
One would think.
And in that case, Notre Dame gets left out.
And I'm telling you, there's going to be whatever brand gets left out. Alabama, which I don't think is going to happen. Notre Dame, maybe the team in Austin. There's going to be a seismic shift, and by the way, they should. But there's going to be a seismic shift of the thinking, and they're going to try to press fast forward in changing this playoff picture for the future. They're going to, based on what happens this year.
They'll go to 16 teams.
Yeah.
I think they protected Alabama from dropping out by bumping them in front of Notre Dame. That was one of the things that Pate mentioned on Tuesday he wanted to see, was what they did with Bama and Notre Dame. They flipped them and put Bama in front of Notre Dame. So I think by doing that, they protected Alabama from dropping out of the playoffs with the loss.
I'll tell you, first of all, I've always been skeptical and cynical about Notre Dame and said, well, they won't. If Notre Dame has 10 wins, they'll make sure Notre Dame gets in because it's Notre Dame. That said, what a great opportunity to prove that you're not going to be biased that way if you drop Notre Dame out. And then if Notre Dame complains, you could say, well, get in a conference.
Their schedule next year is not very tough at all.
Notre Dame's?
Yeah.
Well, I think after the first 2 weeks of this year, it wasn't very tough. You got Stanford, you got Navy, you got.
I think the main difference in this year's schedule and next year's is they take us out and replace us with SMU.
Well, they always play about a half dozen ACC teams, and then they're going to play Navy every year, and they're going to play almost every year they play Stanford. But yeah, if they drop, if Miami and Notre Dame end up right next to each other in the rankings, I don't see how.
I found the CBS Sports thing,
yeah,
and it was after the Texas loss. but I don't think since the playoff projections came out, because I'm looking at it right now, and it has A&M at 5 and North Texas 12, Ole Miss at 7. A&M is not jumping to 5 on Sunday.
I hope North Texas gets in. Go Mean Green. My grandmother worked at, when it was called North Texas State, she worked there for a little while. She's from Denton. I like to see teams from Texas, except for one in the playoff. I don't have a problem with Texas Tech being in the playoff.
Let's hit a break here. Come back with some more. Duck camp. That's not a duck camp.
Yes, it is.
I'm like, bro, you've got every piece of your wardrobe from duck camp. That's fantastic.
I like it. And I like this because on a cool day, it's kind of chilly outside.
Yeah.
Good flannel shirt. I feel like going and chopping down a tree.
Yeah, I was going to say that particular outfit right there, I feel like you could be Paul Bunyan or you could go to church.
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
Yeah. I don't know about okay, but
you don't know that.
No,
no
what is
okay.
it? I thought you were talking
it's
about
a Monty Python song.
Okay.
You know Monty Python.
Of course, I know. Now, could I tell you anything about Monty Python other than as a famous name?
I sleep all night and I work all day.
Do you know anything about Monty Python?
I do not.
He probably never heard of it.
Nope.
Nick Savage, do you know anything about Monty Python?
I know it's a movie, haven't seen it.
It's not a movie.
This is all
anyway,
about duck camp, by the way.
The point is, you can wear this out on a chilly day and keep you warm. You got a good flannel.
Is Monty Python a person?
It's a
place?
troupe. It's a troupe, a comedy troupe.
Oh, okay.
It's like 6 dudes from England.
So it's not a movie.
They have movies like Monty Python
like the
and the Holy Grail.
Okay, it's like the Three Stooges.
Yeah, except there's 6 of them.
Are they funny?
They're really funny.
Do they wear duck camp?
They would if they were smart.
Yeah, that's right. Duckcamp.com.
They're from England, so.
Oh, they're always outdoors. Built for the outdoors, designed for everything else. Use the code TexAgs25 for 25% off. Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports. And they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em. OB just beat it.
I want to make eggs sometimes in the morning.
Yeah.
Beat those eggs.
TexAgs Live.
Scrambled eggs.
Presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's play a little Pick 6 presented by the Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. Once you play, you get $50. I can't get back on track.
I haven't beaten anybody in tech. Well,
I went 0 for 6 last week.
Well, I think I was 1 for 5.
You were.
But remember
They beat me.
Remember last week I said that I was just going to go against whatever Liucci did because it was so important for him to beat me, and I think he
went
won every one of those.
He went 3-2 last week. Him and Seth both went 3-2. Olin, Jamie, and Steve all went 1-5.
Jamie's had 2 bad weeks in a row. He's still in a commanding lead.
He's still up on 5 games on Seth, who's in second, but David did go.
So I got to look at these lines and see if I can beat it. Woo!
So
what was that
in the song? And you hear it at one point. He says, "Just beat it," and they go, "Woo!" in the background.
You sounded like Howard Dean for a second.
Take Alabama. We're going to Georgia. We're going to go there.
By the way, my dear friend and old Professor Finney Coleman listening. He lives in the Utah area. He sent us a Monty Python. Which is the one you liked?
Well, I like a lot of them, but Reese doesn't know the Black Knight scene from Monty Python, The Holy Grail, and that's the one people all over the
He sent
world.
me the lumberjack.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm okay, yeah. And that was when Dan Campbell went to the Lions, was talking about when they knock us down, we're going to bite off a kneecap, which they bit off the Cowboys' kneecaps last night, and everybody was sending memes. Is that what the right word about from Monty Python? And he still doesn't know. All right, but let's see if we can take that line and beat it.
All right, well, the first game has a pretty big spread. The Sun Belt Championship, which is Troy at number 25, James Madison at 6 o'clock tonight. James Madison, 23.5-point favorite.
Guarantee you Billy's going to complain, or Steve or Seth, that we picked this game that has a 23.5. Guarantee it.
I don't pick the games, don't.
Well,
why you got to deflect? I'm making a comment that they're going to complain.
I'm getting ahead of it.
He's not listening. You're still in trouble.
Yeah.
My grandfather's name was Troy, but I'm going to take James Madison. I didn't have any relatives named James or Madison, but I'll take James Madison because they're the only team. I couldn't tell you what Troy's record is. I can't tell you. I don't know. I know DeMarcus Ware went there.
Yeah.
And didn't A&M have a guy from Troy?
Was it in football?
No, a football player today. Maybe I'm thinking of UAB. Where's the backup quarterback for Zeno? Where's he from?
Jacob Zeno was at UAB, and before that, Baylor.
Where was the receiver? The receiver from last year, the one that was hurt at the beginning of the year?
Not Ja'Day Walker. You're talking about
Jabri Barber.
Jabri Barber. Where was he from?
I think he was Troy. I think
he did go to Troy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was Troy. Yeah, good one.
Well, they don't have Jabri Barber anymore, so I'm going to take James Madison.
I'm taking James Madison.
Yeah,
I've done a lot of research on this game. I'm taking James Madison.
I'm sure we spent
the
hours.
The line is what?
23.5 in favor of
James Madison can beat it. Just beat it. Woo!
All right, the second game is the American Conference Championship, which is tonight on ABC at 7 o'clock as the number 24 North Texas goes to number 20 Tulane. North Texas, 2.5-point favorites.
Really?
That's what I got in front of me.
I hope they win. I really do, but I'm going to have to go with Tulane.
I'm going with Tulane, too.
I saw North Texas. So it's the mean green versus the green wave.
That's right. A lot of green.
There was a lot of green.
Green on green violence.
Somebody's going to be green with envy when this is over with because they won't be going to the playoff. I'm going to have to go with Tulane because I watched North Texas earlier this year on TV against South Florida, and they got worked.
They did get worked. So I'm going with Tulane as well.
Tulane.
Tulane
Highway.
Now we get into the Power Conference Championship games. The first one is the Big 12 as the number 11 BYU Cougars go to Dallas to face the number 4 Texas Tech Red Raiders at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Texas Tech, 12.5-point favorites.
12.5. They beat them worse than that.
They did,
earlier.
but at home.
Yeah.
Adjustments. I think Tech is going to end up winning, but yeah, I'm going to go BYU.
Yeah, I'm going to go Texas Tech.
Okay.
We head now to Atlanta for the SEC Championship game as the number 3 Georgia Bulldogs face off against the number 9 Alabama Crimson Tide at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Georgia, 2.5-point favorites.
I'm taking Georgia.
I'm taking Georgia.
I know Bama has got some kind of voodoo curse on
They do.
on Georgia, but I don't care.
You know how badly Kirby Smart wants this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Georgia as well.
Give me Georgia.
The next one up is the Big Ten Championship, number 1 versus number 2. The number 2 Indiana Hoosiers face off against the number 1 Ohio State Buckeyes at 7 p.m. at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Ohio State, 4.5-point favorites.
Ooh.
Buckeyes. If they care. And I know they care.
But do they care?
But do they, again, bigger fish to fry. But I think they're the better team, so I'm going to take
Ohio State.
And then lastly, the ACC Championship game at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, as the Duke Blue Devils face off against the number 17 Virginia Cavaliers, 7 o'clock on Saturday. Virginia, 3.5-point favorites.
Virginia.
I want Duke to win this game so bad. Hey, I'm not going to win this thing. I'm not going to win. In fact, I'm close. I'm much closer to being in last than first. So I'm going to take Duke so I can root for them without conscience.
Okay.
Duke, and because Mike Elko coached there, surely.
You a big Manny Diaz guy?
No. I think he's all right defensive coordinator. I don't think much of him as a head coach. But that said, surely there's still some residue from the Elko era that's
Still there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Niger. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Let's talk about the 2026 schedule for a quick moment, okay? Because we found out some details from Greg Sankey. We'll talk about that on the other side and get to some text messages. Right now, though, we are talking a little Paragon Financial. If you're looking for real peace of mind, when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment. And what really sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CPA, all on staff, and they take their credentials seriously at Paragon. And they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors. Integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is good to be right. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio, the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. I saw this tweet from the SEC Network. I just thought I would bring it up. Commissioner Sankey confirming that the schedule reveal, OB, which we already know who the opponents are, but just the actual structure of the schedule is going to be on Thursday, December the 11th at 7 o'clock on the SEC Network. And just as a reminder, 9-game SEC schedule, okay? Home games next year for Texas A&M. Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas. Roadies, Alabama.
Okay.
Again to LSU, back-to-back years.
Okay.
Missouri.
Again to Missouri.
Yeah. Oklahoma.
Okay.
South Carolina. Not a kind road schedule.
Well,
it's the SEC, brother.
You know what? We don't know because remember
you're right
at the beginning of this year, how's A&M going to get through this? Look, they got to play.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, people say, A&M didn't play anybody.
Yep. Home schedule. I'm looking forward to the 2 T's coming to town.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Be interesting to see the different look Arkansas, different look Kentucky.
You know what I find hilarious?
No.
They're going to a 9-game schedule so you can go everywhere. Because you got to get the real experience by going to every place. A&M has never been to Kentucky, and they're going to play Kentucky for the second time. They played them here, but they're coming here. It's if I would have thought that's why you've been going to Kentucky because that's why they're doing this, right? But supposedly,
looking at this schedule, how many top 10 teams will be in the preseason on this schedule? Bama will probably be a top 10 team.
Yeah,
right?
They almost always are.
LSU with Lane Kiffin, yeah.
Could be.
Yep. Texas?
Could be. I don't know who all they're losing, but they're going to have an arch.
And then Tennessee will be right outside of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Oklahoma?
Could be.
Could be. We don't even know their rosters. I'm over here speculating.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, brand name wise, those teams will half that schedule will be ranked.
Yeah, but that's life in the SEC. I mean, is it a shocker that LSU would be a top 10 team, or Texas, or Alabama?
No.
Or Tennessee, for that matter?
No.
It's just what it is.
Yep.
Or Texas A&M.
OB, good stuff, brother.
All right.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
As a reminder, the final segment of the program, that is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150 will hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's.
Rolls.
They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Welcome back, everybody. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy should be in studio here momentarily. We know that Mike Elko will be in this studio in about 35 minutes or so. To kick things off here on the 9 o'clock hour, we go straight to the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our good buddy, SEC Mike, Michael Bratton, joining us here on the show. Mike, what's up, bud?
Hey, David. Pleased to be opening for Coach Elko.
Well, we're very happy to have you here on the program. So, Mike, I know that like you're kind of week to week when it comes to teams, right? Like, so after what happened in Austin, knowing where A&M dropped in the rankings, knowing what potentially is ahead, how are you feeling about A&M and this postseason run?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that depends on the matchups, right? If they get Virginia at home, certainly A&M's going to roll them, I would think. But if it's Alabama, let's say Alabama loses the SEC championship, maybe it's a little bit different story. I think I would still probably favor A&M at home, but not by a ton, because I think Alabama is a team, much like A&M, that is capable on going on a deep run and maybe even winning the national championship. So I still think Texas A&M can get there. But I think the biggest takeaway for me was, the defense kind of breaking I don't know if breaking's the right word, but bending quite a bit against Texas, and the fact that A&M, I think, has got a real problem with Texas.
Mike, you mentioned Virginia there. I think that's what most of us were kind of expecting before the rankings came out. Now they're at 7. So do you see a path for A&M to move up? I mean, we don't know what they're thinking in that room, but they're idle. They're not playing, so you're going to have to hope for a lot of other things, or maybe as they get into a room and they start talking things out, realizing, you know what, maybe we kind of made a mistake last week.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking me to guess what this committee's going to do. Good luck. You know what I mean? I think I got better odds hitting the lottery, but without another game, it's hard for me to see them moving A&M up based on their logic, which I don't agree with. I don't think A&M should have taken such a fall, but are they going to put them? I think a worst case scenario for A&M is probably Bama winning. Of course, I just said if they lose, you may face Bama, but I think if Bama wins the SEC championship, fair or not, I think they're going to move them ahead of the Aggies, and they'll probably keep Georgia ahead of them too. So in my mind, I think it's more of a concern that A&M could move back even further this week.
What if Texas Tech were to lose, which I don't think will happen?
Yeah, I think that would certainly help A&M, and because I wouldn't put a 2-loss Tech in there, and BYU, I don't care how bad. It'll probably be a massive fluke if they beat Tech, but if they do it, you can't move them ahead of A&M either. So, yeah, I guess in that scenario, but I'm right there with you. I don't really see Tech losing that game, but for A&M, maybe we do want that.
Mike, let's go back to, and look, I want to look ahead more than look back, but the Texas game is, our most recent reference point. By the way, I think one of the flaws, I'd love to get your thought on this, and is there how much stock we put into November as opposed to the body of work. And I've been saying this all week on the show. If A&M loses to Texas in week 4 or week 5 or week 7, I don't think they fall as much as they did. Everything else is the same. Same statistics, same everything. All you do is you switch maybe the Texas game with, let's say, the Notre Dame game, or the LSU game or the Missouri game. I think Texas A&M in that case is probably 5.
Yeah, I would buy into that as well, David. And I just think, again, we could sit here and make all kinds of excuses for a performance, but I just think it's hard going on the road against a team that is literally fighting for their playoff lives, whereas I know A&M, they wanted to go to that SEC championship, but they had to know in the back of their minds, regardless, win or lose, they're in the playoff. Meanwhile, Texas, they had already started the propaganda campaign of we're going to stop scheduling tough games. They had already started that, if you recall, before the A&M game. So they had to get that one to have any shot at the playoff. I still obviously don't think they're going to make the playoff, but motivation was key there. But I think what you're saying is valid. Had that game happened earlier, it would be a different story. But at the end of the day, David, you know what it kind of reminds me of, and we've made this point. I don't know if you guys have made it this week. It kind of reminds me of Ohio State last year. They lost to Michigan. Not quite the same scenario because, I mean, he needed security, apparently, Ryan Day, from his own fan base. I know Coach Elko's nowhere near that, but nobody cares that they lost to Michigan because we know what they did. They went on and won the national championship, and if A&M does that, who cares that they lost to Texas in what turns out to be relatively a meaningless game?
Yeah. Mike, when you look at that game, there's a couple ways you can look at it. You lost to your rival again for the second straight year. They ran all over you, and that is certainly all true. If you want to be optimistic, and sometimes I want to be, sometimes I don't. I'm just going to be honest. Like I teeter. Every moment, every second of a game, I teeter. If you want to be optimistic, you can be like, A&M played their worst game of the year. Absolute worst game of the year. Credit to Texas for part of that. But even as bad as they played, you could have won that game in the fourth quarter. Like, you could have. You were in position with Marcel driving. Like, you were in spots to take the lead. So I just say that to you. Is that a flex? Is that not? It doesn't matter. You threw interceptions at the end. You lost.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't go down that road, David, because we could do that for literally any game, right?
Sure.
Notre Dame came down to the final play. They don't make that play. Maybe A&M's out of the playoff. You know what I mean? So we could kind of what if a lot of these games, but. Honestly, if I'm Coach Elko, I don't think he's that mad because what did we get coming out of that now, David? It was once again all these people that says, well, A&M, honestly, that's a pretty soft schedule. They really haven't played anybody. And I came on this show last week and said, well, I don't respect Texas, which obviously I'm not the best at predictions. But the fact that they were able to run the ball, that does concern me. But going back to Coach Elko, again, he can sell this. Hey, no, we just went 11-1. Everyone thinks we're frauds. I mean, how much more motivation could you possibly have going into a college football playoff than nobody thinks you're worth anything when a week ago they were arguably the number one team in the nation?
Mike, you mentioned the Texas propaganda. What did you think about that? Do you think any of that can pay off for Texas?
Everything's bigger in Texas, I hear, David, even the excuses now. So, hey, credit the Longhorns. They're doing what they can to politic, but no, I honestly, I think it's quite pathetic and even threatening to no longer play these types of games. I mean, it's comical to me. I mean, I thought all off season, I'm sure you heard it too, but, it's championship or bust. We're the biggest, we're the baddest. We've come into this conference, we've taken it over, and now it's, oh, man. No, we're not playing these games anymore. If no one respects us, well, I mean, you can't get Florida off the schedule, so you're going to have to keep playing those games, and you actually got to win them to make the college football playoff. And what they lose sight of, David, in this whole narrative, Oklahoma, they're in the playoff, right? Now, they have a lot of big-time wins. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but they're in large part, I think, because they played Michigan, because they beat Michigan. So had they lost to Michigan, I guess they'd probably be saying the same thing. But you don't get credit for close losses on the road. I don't recall that ever being the case. A&M beat Notre Dame. That's why they're in. You win the games. You don't make excuses.
All right. So do you see a scenario where Texas, Alabama, and Notre Dame? Is there any scenario that those three brands are not in?
You're saying all of them?
Yeah.
No, I certainly don't think that in any world would happen. I don't think they're going to dock Alabama. I really don't, unless they get absolutely steamrolled in the SEC championship. And even then, I think if they kicked Bama out, what they may do, what they probably will do is have Notre Dame and Miami in, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I think one of Notre Dame, Miami is getting in, and I really think Alabama is safe, regardless of what happens in the SEC championship.
So we heard about the propaganda from Texas. What about from Vandy, trying to schedule a game, and Diego asking for Trump? And does Vandy have any room in, you think? Any way in?
No, and it sickens me, David, because if they were wearing Notre Dame uniforms, they'd be in. I truly believe that, because I know they've lost games too, but I mean they did basically anything asked of them short of going undefeated, and who are their losses? At Bama and at Texas. So I think they deserve to be in. I think their quarterback. We'll see what happens in the Big Ten championship game. If one of those quarterbacks goes off, I think they'll win the Heisman. But if they don't, if neither one of them is truly outstanding. I think Diego Pavia is going to win this Heisman Trophy, and I know that doesn't count for anything in the playoffs scenario, but I think it should. If you got a team on the cusp here, I want to see what this guy can do, and short of maybe the teams at the top, I don't know if they could beat Ohio State or Texas A&M, but I think they could give everybody else. I think they could beat them potentially. So I think they deserve a shot, and credit them for trying to get an extra game in here. I mean, they're going to make them play a meaningless bowl game, right? But why can't we just do the bowl game before that, before a final decision is made by the playoff committee?
Talking to SEC Mike here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studios. I try to plug in my mic or my headphones because it went out. Mike, when I think about history and programs, I'm kind of all over the place when I'm thinking about this, but just hear me out for a second. Like Vandy, I think, is penalized for a lack of history, right? I think a program like A&M also penalized a little bit because of the last few years and in the last 30 years. I don't even want to say the last, right? So talk a little bit about that like when we think about Indiana, well, all we have is last year and what they've done this year, and that's been amazing. And I think they get that bump up because they've proven it a year ago. So fast forward thinking to like a year from now. Vandy does it again. A&M does it again. Do you think they're still kind of looked upon as this different type of program, or do they get to elevate their status the way Indiana has?
Yeah, that's a really good question, David. And I think the only way to do that, like you're saying, is just to keep doing it. Now, can you do it year in and year out? That's going to be a huge task, especially if you're talking about making the college football playoff, and particularly in this conference, because it's not like the Big Ten where we were looking at Indiana's schedule yesterday. I mean, it's comical. They beat Iowa by 5. Oregon, I think, is a good win, but beyond that, I mean, where are the wins? Where are the quality opponents? I don't see them on there. But I think you have to keep doing it. But I think now here's the problem, though, David, because I think the same thing about Ole Miss, right? They are, in the last 4 or 5 years, they are a top 3 program in the Southeastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just looking at records, that's not debatable. And their coach just left for LSU. So he kind of, now, obviously we know the backstory there. It's a little controversial, but he's kind of going against that grain to where, just based on what we've seen, I think he still believes in the brand. So I think that allure is always going to be there for a lot of people, but the only way to change that narrative is to keep winning year in and year out. And I think you're dead on with the Vanderbilt especially, and even A&M. Even though they had this great season, people are just kind of waiting for them to falter down the stretch.
Mike, what do you think about that fit with Lane and LSU? I mean, my mind is like Lane's going to win. He's going to find ways that offense is going to be great. But I think about like the administration, what they've shown me over the last few months, and like, and Lane's a volatile personality. So how good of a fit is it?
Well, I think sadly I hate how it happened. I think it's despicable. I think never should we see a Southeastern Conference team that legitimately could win it all. I know they're not a favorite to do it or anything, but Ole Miss good enough to beat anybody. I think we've seen that this year, to lose their coach. So I think that's despicable. But when you're talking about fit, I mean, playing the Cajuns every year, that's a state of big personalities, and I think they got someone that can kind of manage that, and he will become the villain of college football. I think he already is there, honestly, and I think he will embrace that. While that will crush many people. So, hey, I hate how it ended. I'm not an LSU hater by any means. I think they'll win big. They'll probably win a national championship, but they better do it pretty quickly, I think, David, because Lane Kiffin. I'll clean it up because we use a lot more profanities on my show, but he doesn't give a darn about anyone at LSU, any of their fans, and he will do what he did to Ole Miss and Tennessee and Alabama and Southern Cal and the Raiders and on and on and on. He's going to do it to you too. So I hope you win big while he's there, because we all get Lane Kiffin at one point or another, and LSU's time is coming.
So does that mean Bama? Does that mean Texas? What does that mean? Like, in your mind, does that mean the NFL? What is getting Lane Kiffin the next step potentially mean?
Yeah, probably the NFL, but I know for a fact he covets the Alabama job. Now, would he go from LSU to Alabama now? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, he has coveted that thing. When DeBoer got hired, I mean, he he was pulling every string he could to try to get that job. And I mean, he's wanted the LSU job previously. He's wanted the Florida job. And now that these programs are willing to take him, obviously he made that jump. But yeah, he's always got his eyes set on the next thing. So I maybe even Texas, David. I mean, I don't think that's based on what I've heard about Sarkisian. I don't know how much longer he's got if he can't deliver a national championship. I think he would probably leave LSU for Texas too.
Talking to SEC Mike here on TexAgs Live. Look, I know you don't cover the Big Ten the way you cover the SEC, but have you ever seen a more dysfunctional coaching hiring practice than what Penn State has done over the last few months?
Well, you got to remember, I'm a Tennessee grad, so yes, I have. I've seen probably the wildest coaching search of all time. But yeah, I mean, it's rough for Penn State, isn't it? I think they're 50 some odd days into this coaching search with no. It sounds like they might be getting the Iowa State coach, but who knows? He'll probably turn them down during this interview as well. So I'm surprised, David, because I thought that was a really good job. And they've got all the resources there, but maybe some of these coaches were unhappy how they treated James Franklin, which I didn't realize that he had any friends. So it kind of surprises me that it's been so hard for them to land a coach.
Quick reaction, SEC championship, Georgia going to take care of business?
That's what most people are thinking, David, but I like Alabama. I think Alabama's the better team, believe it or not, and big game DeBoring. I call him DeBoring, of course, because he's so DeBoring, but he delivers in these big-time spots. He's owned Kirby. I think they own him again.
What about Indiana, Ohio State?
Can they both lose? But no, give me Ohio State. I think they'll find a way to weasel their way to another win.
Mike, great stuff, man. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
SEC Mike there on the Buffy's Catering Bartending Hotline. Appreciate his time. We'll hit a break. Check in with Billy, and I believe Coach Elko should be here. Let's call it 9:34:30. That's what we're going to call it, all right? We'll hit some text messages on the other side. Milliken Reserve time. Farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces. They have a mission to build a healthy community around nature, and they want to connect families to nature. So if you love your kids, you go outdoors. That's what you do, and you do it at Milliken Reserve. They have an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape that has walking and equestrian paths and creeks and ponds and gathering areas, and they're committed to maintaining that natural habitat. They have all the native species you can imagine, from the white-tailed deer, the songbirds, the rabbits, and the turtles. If they didn't have the turtles, I wouldn't go there, but they do, and they want to share in a legacy of conservation, which means generation after generation, they're coming back to that pristine countryside place. If you want to learn more, if it sounds like a place you'd like to visit or even live, go to millikenreserve.com. That website again, millikenreserve.com. TexAgs Live, we are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. So Adam McClintock, are you familiar with his game?
I am not.
He's a guy that's on Twitter.
Okay.
End of story. No.
Oh,
He is known as like the college football playoff professor guy. Like he's apparently figured out the algorithm, not the algorithm, whatever their criteria, however they vote, right? And I'm just looking at a tweet of his from December the 2nd. So 3 days ago?
3 days ago.
He says right now Alabama number 9, right?
Mhm.
Projected though, in his opinion, 10th. Okay, and he says the misconception here will be their Iron Bowl performers got favorable review from the committee. Not necessarily so. Their strength of schedule simply didn't slip as far as the Irish. It's a resume thing, not an Iron Bowl thing. So he believes that they're going to be at 10. So A&M, he has them, just so you're aware,
Okay.
7th. They're 7th, and he projects them at 7th. And he says, I've been saying for weeks, if A&M lost, they would tumble. With the strength of schedule this low, SOS strength of...
Yeah, strength of schedule.
Yep. This low, GC has to be impressive to get a pass. GC is 3rd worst in the poll. Where the Sooners got a pass for good SOS, the Aggies are penalized. So
he said bad strength of schedule. A&M's is 15th or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that.
Well, SOS here, he has this as 91st. So I don't know if SOS stands for strength of schedule.
It might not. He might have a different.
He's
meaning
got
for that.
Oklahoma as 11 SOS. He's got Alabama strength. I don't know. What else would it be?
I can't think
Strength
of
of record,
anything.
strength, SOR.
Yeah, that's SOR.
Yeah. So just interesting, to say the least. Doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
once they announce where A&M is, I'm going to go all in and be excited about the matchup and why they should win, and Coach Elko will have them ready to play, right?
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I just think that it's kind of ridiculous that, and SEC Mike had an awesome comment there. He goes, last week we were talking about A&M maybe being the best team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
How does maybe the best team in the country with a loss fall all the way to 7? I don't think people thought Texas Tech ever was the best team in the country.
No.
Oregon got, I don't know about embarrassed, but they lost by 10. Is that what you told me?
Yeah, by 10.
Same as, so I don't know. I
Now, Oregon did lose at home, but
and A&M lost on the road and also beat a top 10 team on the road. Dismantled an entire coaching staff in a state in Louisiana, right? So there is that. But again, there's the recency bias for losing at the end of the season.
Yeah. I mean,
which I thought I've read, and maybe I'm making it up, that it shouldn't matter. Like, it shouldn't matter when you lost.
Yeah, it's one loss, but I think it's kind of, because it's a committee full of people, it's kind of hard to ignore recency bias. Everybody has recency bias, but from the guy that you were reading the tweets from, that would be Alabama.
Adam McClintock.
Adam McClintock. That would be Alabama coming to Kyle Field in the playoffs. And I saw somebody also on Twitter say they were hoping for a blackout game at night against Alabama in the playoffs at Kyle Field. I feel like that would be a pretty electric environment.
So Atticus says the committee uses a different strength of schedule metric. He says it's doo-doo, but that's what they use.
Doo-doo.
I don't know. He said crap, but I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
No, I mean,
I don't know which one's allowed. So
all of them.
You had a question on the chat to talk about.
Yeah, somebody texted in. They said, question for the staff: where do you think the College Football Playoff Committee will rank the loser of the Big Ten championship? And I think we're both on agreement that they will go to number 3.
Yeah, they'll drop the spot. Now let's
there's so many.
I see nowhere world where Texas Tech moves up from 4.
No, I don't.
Right? I think they stay at 4.
Mm-hmm.
If Indiana or Ohio State loses, they will drop to 3. If Georgia wins, they will go to 2. If Georgia loses, they could get pushed to 4 and push Texas Tech back, right? Well, I think they'd probably go to 5 with 2 losses.
Yeah. So if Georgia drops,
we're guessing what people like 12 morons are thinking.
If Georgia drops down to 4, then who jumps to number 3?
Yeah. No.
Would then Texas Tech all of a sudden jump Georgia?
What SEC Mike said, and I think even Pate said this too, he thinks Alabama would be a top 4 seed if Bama wins.
I've seen people say that. I think
that's a huge jump.
That's 5 spots jumping, which is a lot. That's a lot.
A&M dropped 4 spots.
That is true. They did drop 4 spots, but I think, and I mean, Texas jumped up three spots, I think, for beating us. But I think at this point in the season, jumping a team from 9 all the way to 4, that seems like a pretty sizable jump.
A couple of texts coming in. PG Ag in King Oak says, ask Billy about McClintock's strength of schedule. It's ridiculous. Same one the committee uses. Yeah, and I think, I could be wrong here. I believe McClintock uses it because the committee uses it. Not.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like this is what I think they should do. I think he's saying, this is what I think the committee will do. Trey also adds in the strength of schedule formula that uses, Adam is quoting, is just based on a straight wins and losses with nothing else considered. So beating a 6-6 UTSA team is considered a better win for us than a 5-7 Auburn. It's beyond stupid. Oh my gosh.
People are going in on the committee.
Well, I mean, but I think that thought right there, like, not all 6-6 teams are the same.
Yeah. Like, are we going to, what did Florida end up with? 4 wins? Now that, and I think they might have brought it up on the B team yesterday. That's a really talented 4-win team. And I mean, you could go looking at all sorts of different 4-win teams. And I think from a talent perspective, so yeah, I agree with you. Not all teams I mean, we're looking at it right now, like with Miami and Notre Dame, they're ranked the exact same. They have the same record. Miami has a win over them, but yet they're being penalized for it.
David on H-Town says if Bama wins and Texas Tech loses, maybe Texas Tech comes to Kyle. I don't see that much of a tumble because I don't think A&M's moving from 7.
Yeah, I don't think losing to a team in the conference championship game that you beat in the regular season justifies a 6-spot drop.
Right. I also didn't think losing to your rival on the road by 10 in a game that you had chances to win at the end should also drop you 4 spots. So
I didn't think, especially not drop you behind a team who just lost their head coach and is behind you in strength of schedule and strength of record.
By the way, it's out of our control. So control what you can control and win games.
Yeah,
that's it.
Somebody did send that. That was Kevin.
He said the same thing?
Yeah, he said the only way to silence the critics is win. And that's really all you can do.
And it's not even about silencing critics at this point. At this point, like, you have no control over your fate. Right? At one point you did. Right now it's been taken out of your. So whatever it is, it is. Take care of the business.
That's kind of, people say that's kind of the punishment you get for leaving your fate in somebody else's hands.
Yeah. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, I think I know what's going to happen, but I don't know. So we'll do that on the other side. Right now, insurance decisions, shouldn't be made in 15 minutes or less. The Rollo Insurance Group builds lasting relationships through education, helping you understand what you're buying and the why behind it. And they have expertise in everything from home to auto to business to specialty, and their independent agents certainly do provide options tailored to your specific need. They want to take the time to explain to you in plain language exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you, so that you can accomplish your insurance goals. Their educational approach empowers you to make informed decisions. And many of their clients discover better protection at competitive rates because they finally understand all of their options. Experience the difference at one of their 60-plus offices in the great state of Texas, but of course, their headquarters right here in College Station. Go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. We're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Still figuring out how we're going to close out the hour, but I think good times are coming. Randy on the YouTube page, who is a Texas fan, but he's very nice, always listens, he's always a contributor. He goes, where's this chance to win, Nuño, you keep referring to? I must have missed that part. And I'm going to give it to you. It's not that A&M had a chance with the ball, right? But A&M cut it to a 3-point game. Texas did answer. Props to them for that, right? But there's a 3rd and 8 situation, right, from the 40, right, from the A&M 40. If you hold them on 3rd down, which typically A&M does a good job, I think they only gave up 4. It was 4-13, if I remember the number correctly, against Texas. They got a lot early. They got 2 early ones, and then they didn't for a while. But you had a chance to have the ball and do what you've done all season long. So when I say had a chance to win, not that they had the ball in their hands with a chance to win. Maybe I should preface it with that. But A&M had a chance to stop Texas, force a punt, or what? I mean, I don't think they're going to kick a 57-yard field goal. Maybe.
Their kicker is pretty good, so
so maybe he kicks a 57-yard field goal. Yeah. Then they're up 6.
Yeah,
you have a chance.
It's still a one-score game,
right? So that's what I keep referring to, Randy. It's like you had a chance, as bad as you played in the 4th quarter. You had them on 3rd and 8. And then Arch goes on this 35-yard touchdown. Well, you get a penalty first off.
Yeah.
Right? I think it goes from 3rd and 8 to 3rd and 3.
Yeah.
Right? And if I'm wrong on my fuzziness.
Howell jumped off sides.
Right?
Yeah.
So now it's 3rd and 3. Much more manageable. Mm-hmm. Then you know, Arch, he could have run from 3rd and 8 because he ran for 35 yards. I understand that. But I think it changes the way your defensive alignment and whatnot. So that's where when I talk about it, you had a chance to force a punch, or maybe they go for it on 4th down and get the. So that's what I mean by it. Yeah, Texas won by 10. There's all these what ifs. I understand that. What if? And you know, the funny thing that I hear a lot about is, well, what if Notre Dame doesn't miss an extra point?
Yeah.
Well, what if A&M doesn't miss a field goal?
Yeah. Or to Terry McCullough.
Didn't A&M miss a field goal in that quarter?
Randy Bond missed one going into halftime.
Going into halftime. There you
go. Or if Terry McCauley got his way and they called.
God, I hate that. I don't know that dude. I shouldn't hate the dude. I don't like his Twitter persona.
Yeah.
Okay. But whatever. I don't want to talk about him. But that's my why behind it. Look, and I have why. Every team has whys. That's the frustrating part. I can give you some whys against the Texas team last year. Mm-hmm. Why and how A&M could have won that game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if they're able to convert on early 4th and short.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe they kick a field goal. Maybe they convert. Mm-hmm. Maybe if but maybes don't matter. What matters is the result. So I recognize that. But as poor as A&M played, I think if you don't go off sides on that play, you play that, you know. But again, these are all ifs.
Yeah.
Nigel, I feel like I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to Randy and you.
Talking to everybody.
Yeah, I'm a talker. You know, hey, I talk to people.
We're inclusive here.
Yeah. Give me something to think about. Give me something to chew on.
Yeah, so we were talking about it at the break. The Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year finalists were announced, and there is some controversy around it as Julian Sayin, who's a redshirt freshman, made the list, but Bear Bachmeier, BYU's quarterback, did not make it, even though he's a true freshman. People are pretty outraged about it online.
Yeah, well, I'm outraged about it too.
That look on your face gives.
I was listening to Nick more than you.
Apparently
our special guest is in the building, so I'm gonna hit a break.
That's way more important. Than
way more important.
Freshman.
I think if you're a redshirt freshman, you can still be there. All right, Heritage Films. I had Chance McClain here yesterday. He went to our sponsor lunch. It was great to hang out with Chance. He's a dear friend of mine for over 20 years. And we brought him to the studio. He hung out, got to see the new studio. We chit-chatted. It was great. And he met everybody, right? And people were like, tell me about what Heritage Films does. And he actually talks about it so much more eloquently than I do because it's his business, right? But documentary company, you want a documentary on anything? Anything? Like, this dude can do it. And he does it at a high level. And he's going to India, I think, for like 2 weeks for one of these shoots that he's doing. He's going all over the place. The guy, he's done politician stories. He's done normal people story. He's done grandpas, he's done uncles, he's done ranches, family businesses. He tells your story, and he leaves it for the next generation, and it is something you don't want to miss out on. What you should do is call Chance up and say, hey, I've heard about you on TexAgs. David speaks really high about you. Are you really his friend? Because if you are, I don't know if I should do business with you. See how he responds. It is Heritage Films, the website, yourheritagefilm.com. Call him up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance City. Our next guest led A&M to an 11-1 regular season with the postseason coming up here very, very soon. Our guest is Mike Elko. Coach Elko, thank you for joining us, sir.
No, appreciate you guys having me over. Today was it was a good morning to come over and spend some time with the TexAgs folk.
Well, thank you. If I can just start us off, what has this last week been like? Because, okay, you got the aftermath of the game. You've got these playoff rankings. You've got Collin leaving for Kansas State. You've got National Signing Day. You've got a lot on your plate.
Well, it's been a whirlwind, and so every time you would anticipate there being a little bit of a downtime, you don't get it. That's just the nature of this profession. But, happy for Collin. Obviously, a great opportunity for him and his family. And so that's what you want. You want to go out and hire really good people and have them get the opportunities that make sense for them. And so happy for him, happy that he's moving on. We'll do what's right for the program, and that process really started probably over a week ago, long before anybody caught news of what he was doing, and we'll go from there.
When you does you and I always talk off air about the calendar, and the schedule and stuff. For situations like this one, you see Stein at Oregon, Klein here. Does this at the very least? Does it at least fit to allow coaches to kind of do this in terms of finish out the playoffs, with the signing date and then the portal not opening until January?
Yeah, I think the fact that December is now a dead period in recruiting, I think at least gives coaches a chance to focus on finishing, whereas in the past, you get a job. When I got the Duke job, that was right in the middle of the December calendar recruiting period. And so you don't really have a choice of staying or going. Unfortunately, we COVIDed with we had the COVID Bowl that year, so I didn't miss anything. But you don't really have much of a choice if you've got to go recruit for your new roster. And so I think it's a situation now where you can probably balance it a lot better. And again, I've always said this, the calendar's never going to be right as long as you're trying to mix school, academic calendars, TV, all of that stuff. It makes it really challenging.
It's such a grind this season. I know you guys had a bye fairly recently, and Samford's mixed in there in the SEC schedule, but how bad did this team, in your opinion, I don't know if is it physically, is it just getting fresh legs, mentally, all the above? How refreshing is this, or much needed was this little break here?
Yeah, it's the silver lining, right?
Yeah.
We obviously, there's not anybody in our building who didn't want, with everything we had, to win that game last Friday night and doesn't want to be playing in Atlanta Saturday. But when you talk about what is the best thing to go try to win a national championship, it's maybe not the same as the best thing to go win an SEC championship, right? And that's just the nature of it. And so getting away from it for a week, getting your mind right, getting refreshed a little bit. The SEC schedule is a grind. We know that. It's a physical, it's a mental grind that you have to go through all season. And so to just kind of maybe take a step back and refresh and reset everything and come back, we'll get back to work Monday and really get rolling.
How difficult is it to turn the page for the players, let's just say, but you still want to hold on to that anger? Or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've said this to people, and this is, I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, because I understand what that game means. I understand what going to Atlanta means, and there's bitter disappointment for all of that. But I've said this, we talked a lot about this last offseason, there are two things that can exist, right? There is bitter disappointment that can exist, along with an understanding that as long as we play college football and as long as we play football at Texas A&M, we're going to lose and we're going to have to move on, right? And so saying that doesn't try to justify it or make it okay, but it's what's going to happen. We're not going to go 36-0 over my next 3 regular seasons. There's going to be losses mixed in there, and we're going to have to figure out ways to move forward. And it doesn't change it, but that's just kind of how you have to be wired to be successful in this sport, I think.
Well, let's circle back real quick to signing day. Recruiting does still matter.
That was like a week ago, right?
Yeah, it feels like a year ago. It does still matter, despite. I just feel like everything else, like we just talked about, makes it's just not as crazy a day as it used to be when it was in February. But throughout your career, my career, and I do have, this is a career. Before you say anything,
I'm not going to say anything.
I'm like, it's so. But before all that, it's February signing day. It was like a national holiday in Texas. It's still a big deal. How do you juggle, portal versus recruiting, because y'all's numbers are still pretty high in terms of recruiting. Is that balance a year-to-year thing?
Yeah.
Because y'all will lose a lot this season, but it still feels like you signed a really large class.
Yeah, I still think this is how I view it. This is how I look at it. I think you have two separate components of your roster. You know, the first one is recruiting, and that needs to be a full class every year. We're going to live in the 26 to 28 world with that every year. And then there's, you know, what we call roster retention, and that is every non-incoming recruit, right? And that's a number that's anywhere from 52 to 54 to 56. Yeah. And what you do with that roster to make the best 52, 54, 56 is where a lot of those portal conversations come in. But you can never have the portal conversation be involved with the high school recruiting conversation. They have to be two completely separate things, because you have to keep bringing elite talent into this program every single year. And I think the other thing we try to do, and I've said this before, and I joke a little bit, but there's truth to it. Like, I don't study social media, I study success. Yeah. And if you look at the teams that are playing in the semifinals, the teams that are having success, they still are primarily homegrown rosters. And they're rosters of really talented players that are developed in their program, developed in their system, and are playing at a high level, supplemented with a handful of talented transfers that always fill the roles.
Well, and you guys seem to emphasize or really gravitate towards the Cassius Howells, the Will Lees, Desericks, these guys in the portal that have multiple years left. That's a conscious effort on y'all's part, right? So you kind of combine we've got the college tape to watch to see how they are, but we also still have time to develop them within our system, our weight room, et cetera.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's always a balancing act, and like everything is, you know, everything in the world today is a value proposition, right? And it's, okay, here's a kid, he's got 1 year at X, is that worth it? Versus here's a kid that's got 3 years at X, and I just think, you try to make sure that you're balancing what you're doing, because you don't ever want to get into one of these vicious portal cycles where you're constantly having to churn year in and year out. You know, we're still to some degree filling some roster holes with you know, what happened during the transition, and so that'll still create a little bit of an unbalanced in the roster that we're still working through. But that's our job, and that's what we've got to figure out.
So in this class, I know, if I ask you who like stands out, I know I'm either going to get all the names or none. So I'm going to give you a chance here to, you know, is there somebody, because this is the opposite, Kat, this is how I'm doing here. Is there a couple guys, a player or two, that you think A&M fans, per the rankings and all that, should say, pay a little more attention to, that they're sleeping on? You told me this about Cassius Howell.
I did.
You told me this about, I forget.
Marion Morrow would be a guy
that
was in that.
Is there a guy or two this year that you think you're like, okay, you guys, you know, stay tuned?
Yeah, I think Caleb Tafua, the tight end, is a name that hasn't probably generated a tremendous amount of buzz, but he is an unbelievably athletic pass-catching tight end. I think we did a really, really good job of identifying him early in the process. He stayed very committed in his process, and I tell the kids this all the time, and this is how I hope our recruiting goes and continues to go. We're 2 years of being pretty solid this way. A lot of times the most successful players wind up being some of the ones who are the most quiet in their recruitment. You see it, you know, they don't make a lot of noise, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, where'd that come from? Or why is that kid like an NFL kid? Well, because he's just really mature and he's handling his process the right way. And so that would be one that I would say on offense. And then defensively, and this is maybe just for Aggie fans. I'm not sure that Aggie fans are giving Tristan Givens enough of an appreciation for who he really is. Like, that is an absolute elite pass rusher that we got out of the state of Georgia. That was a very highly coveted kid by a lot of Eastern SEC schools, and he had a prior relationship with one of our younger coaches, Coach Gibson, on our staff, and that really helped with that one.
You go back to back. You kind of said similar things from a guy out west last year in Marco Jones, and you've seen some of that already. So, that's how you get Nuño pass rushers, one boom after the other.
That's the plan.
You always talk about that 2-year recruiting window too, which I think now more than ever is important because, like you said, the portal and supplementing it.
Yeah.
But what have you done in 2 years? When you look at your roster, is there a position or two, maybe not necessarily in this class, but just the last 2 cycles where you go, we've really upgraded here? For me, it's corner stands out.
Yeah.
Is there a different one, or is it?
Maybe not position, maybe just overall speed.
Yeah.
Like I think if you look at like some of the speed that has come in at wide receiver and in the secondary, not even take the portal kids even out of it. Just you look at Jerome Miles, a kid who could really run. You look at some of the kids that we brought in this class that can really run. I think that's probably the biggest upgrade that we've had.
Mike, I want to go back to the portal for a second, and I'm just curious how much pride you take in other programs. It seems like they're going after mercenaries, and it doesn't seem that Casey's going to be here a year, but it seems like he's an Aggie, right? It doesn't seem like a mercenary fit. Armage, Cassius, how much pride do you take in guys that not only fit the culture of the program, but this university?
Yeah, a lot. I think it goes a long way in the culture that you have and what you're trying to build. I listen to a lot of my colleagues complain about, what the world has become that we're living in, but a lot of them are making it. A lot of them are continuing to encourage it and create it. We take a lot of strides around here to do the best we can at bringing the right people into this program. And then I think bringing them into a culture that is really strong, that does maybe encourage it to go the way it goes. I said this after the game the other night. I think one of the best encouraging kids in the locker room was Casey Concepcion. And in terms of like, hey, we're going to go win a national championship. Like, this sucks, but we're going to keep going. Like, and those are the things that you take a lot of pride in terms of who we're bringing in here, because that's critical, right? And when you see some of these programs have these major ebbs and flows year in and year out, you can get it really wrong really quick nowadays.
Casey did. He had me fired up. I saw him walking off the field. He was not happy, but he was really like, what you just said was what I thought. What he looked like walking off the field was, I'm pissed, but we're getting it done.
Yeah.
In order to get that done, to make a run in these playoffs, to achieve the ultimate goal, what does your football team look like? How do we play down in these playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with getting healthy and making sure that we've got all the pieces, because I think in order for us to do that, we're going to need all the pieces. I think that'll be a big addition. I think we're going to go into some uncharted territory for our program, and so our ability to kind of play our football through all the noise, the stage, the spotlight, all of that, I think that's going to matter. And I think we got a group of guys that really believe in what we're capable of doing, and I think that will show. Whether it's the 19th or 20th here in Kyle Field, and I know that they're excited to get out there. I know that there's not a person in our building that doesn't believe we can make a run at this thing. When you go through the SEC gauntlet, and we've said this for years, like when you put a playoff together, the SEC gauntlet prepares you for it, and so there's maybe other conferences that don't have it quite as hard as we do. For us, it's been Elimination Saturday for a long time, and so it won't be any different this week.
It's crazy to me that the season this program's had, and you lose on the road. Forget about that it's A&M Texas. Just to say it's the 16th, now 14th ranked to 13th ranked team on the road. And that's your one blemish of the season, and we sit here today and realize that there was a second, probably on the outside looking in. So it truly was, whether we knew it or not, it was an elimination week every week.
For sure. And I think it was a unique season in terms of the amount of 10-win teams that there are across the country. You saw that in terms of our ability to get into Atlanta last year with a little bit of a lesser record, obviously, and but yeah, it has been that way. It's felt that way. We didn't feel like, coming out of that LSU game when you kind of scanned the nation, it was like, wow, okay, that's a big win, but we still got a lot more to do in order to solidify this thing. And so it was good that we were able to do that and give ourselves a margin the last week.
it was funny because everybody thought, hey, they could lose 2 of their last 3 SEC games and they're in.
Well, yeah, it turned out not to be the case.
Is it weird to you, as weird as it is to me, that because you kind of alluded to it during your signing day presser, is it weird that it just feels like the only schedule these talking heads are many of which we're both friends with are talking about is Texas A&M's? When I'm not going to point anyone out in particular, but you can look up and down this playoff field and do it with, I think, half the teams in it.
Yeah, I think I read this the other day. Like our strength of record means our strength of record being third in the country means that 5% of the average top 25 teams would navigate our schedule at 11-1. Yeah. Right, 5%. And so when you know that, and you know that you played Auburn early in the year when they still had everything going for them, you played Florida fresh off of a big win over Texas. You played Mississippi State at a time when they were 4-1 and they were healthy. And like, I understand what it looks like now, but I was also in those games and I know what it felt and looked like then.
And you were also there when people were picking us to lose everything.
Yeah. And again, like, I get it. It's a challenging job that everybody has. You know, you're trying to compare apples to oranges to bananas and try to figure out what's the right thing. And it's not easy. But I said this in the presser the other day, there are metrics that help. And it just feels like we refuse to use them. And for sure, the talking heads, like they don't have time to look at metrics. They just start yelling.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't become one of them.
I try not to.
Yeah.
Some would say I have been from day one.
That is your career.
Yeah.
Your career is you're a talking head.
I would probably make more money and be more popular if I was shock jock and facts be damned.
And I understand they've got a job to do, right? They got a job to draw people to their X page or their Instagram page, and that's part of what they have to do. And so that's not lost on me either. I know why they do it, but yeah. And if I get one more text saying everything's going to be okay after we just had the best season that we've had since 1992, that's probably
hang in there,
Coach. I don't need to hang in there.
Yeah.
I got to be Texas. I know that's not lost on me, but I don't need to hang in there. I'm doing just fine.
So you mentioned I could go all day about my only other comment on all of that is the talking heads thing too is, well, you mentioned social media. Yeah. I actually wanted to talk to you about that. You guys and you have come in, and I think whether it's you and like I liked what you were doing, signing day, personalized commentary and tweet about every recruit. That was a new touch that I haven't seen around here. You just constantly seem to be evolving on the social media front, like. Obviously, that doesn't happen without your blessing and involvement, but you talked about a lot of aspects of your program after that. How important is it for you, the social media branding aspect? And is that something you were thinking of even when you were here as a DC? Like, man, if I'm ever a head coach, this is going to be really important, or did that kind of happen at Duke?
No, I think it was something that quite honestly, when I was here, I felt like we could have done better. And then certainly I think when I got to Duke, it was such a big piece of what we tried to do. It is the single biggest advertisement of your program, right? Is what, 15 to 17-year-old kids and maybe even younger, when you start talking about recruiting, are looking at on social media. And, it doesn't affect really the season ticket holders that much. It's not really for them, but every day in a high school, some kid's picking up his phone and scrolling through Instagram and trying to figure out what's hot and what's cool and what's fresh. And you have to play that advertising game. You have to play that promotional game with your program. And I think that's really, really important. And if you look at, some of the historic, and I learned this at Duke, in some ways, like, Duke basketball is one of the most historically successful programs in the country.
Yeah.
They also have the #1 brand on social media. They're the most active. They've got the most creative content. That's not an accident, right? And it all comes together, right? You have to win because the winning gets the followers, and then the content keeps the followers and grows it. It's all a package deal. If we're winning 3 games a year, we can have the best content in the world and no one's looking at it. But I do think it's a big piece of how you market and brand your program. There's no doubt about it.
Mike, I have this theory that the perception of programs, and A&M specifically, changes with continued success. So if you all mirror this type of season next year, I think you'll get the Indiana treatment. How much of it do you think, when it comes to the committee and just, I get a little bit talking heads, is just the consistency of being a contender each year and changing the way people look at this as a program?
Yeah, we have to change the narrative of Texas A&M football. Like that's not lost on me. We haven't, over the course of our last 20 years, we haven't exactly been phenomenal at overachieving and hitting our marks, and and so I knew that when I walked in, and so that's part of it, and so I think we have to become a more consistent program for people to talk about us in a different way, and that's to be expected, right? Like I get that. I do think sometimes it bleeds into the committees. I felt that in 2020. I feel that a little bit right now with where we're ranked. I don't know that that's right. I think when you talk about committees, it should be a one-year snapshot, right? They're supposed to try to identify what the 2025 Texas A&M football team is and should be ranked, not relative to anything else. When you talk about narratives, like I for sure understand where they come from. I'm not blind. But I think now this is 2 years in a row where we have overshot preseason markers, overshot preseason expectations. I think we've got to continue to do that, but it's certainly we're 2 for 2 now.
You just mentioned something. Not you in particular, and Texas A&M's in the playoffs for the first time, and we'll find out the seeding and the opponent and all that Sunday. It's going to be really damn exciting, I think, for everyone.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean,
first time. It should be like Christmas.
It is. I mean, like it's like March Madness on steroids.
Yeah.
Biggest game ever at Caulfield.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with that said, we have a different feeling over here. I know they asked you about Sark in Texas, and you're not interested in that, but I'm talking about the SEC, the conference, whether it's how you feel about what's going on, or him, or Alabama if they don't win Saturday.
Vanderbilt, Clark
Vandy.
Lee, yeah.
So do you think the coaches in this league, and not just you, but just the coaches, do you think there's a real level of concern this offseason of, we have now gone to this 9th game, and you see what it has done to certain teams? I said to somebody yesterday, because I was listening to a certain fan base complain to me, I said, hey, if we'd have beaten Auburn last year, you probably missed the playoffs because you played Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it's easy to say, well, just win those games. As you know, it's a lot harder to win those games, especially when it's a 10th one.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that's going to be a big topic amongst you guys as the 16 coaches this offseason to say, we're concerned about this future playoff thing, if this is how it's going to go?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting the next time they put us all in a room together because it's not a whole lot different than what we said last year when we were in the room together, and these were all of our concerns, was it certainly doesn't appear as though what we're doing is getting weighted any different. I said this, like in reality, when you looked at the overall schedules, and I can say this now because it's over, like at the time when, Ohio State was 1, Indiana was 2, we were 3, and we were all undefeated, and Georgia was sitting right below us, and this was after they had beaten UT, like they should have been number 1. Like if you just really break it all down and you say, okay, like who have they beaten? Who is their loss? What is the quality of the opponent? Like what is the quality of the schedule? Like, yeah, I know they're not, all of us can create an undefeated schedule.
Yeah.
Like we can all pick, all pick 12 teams to play and go 12-0. And so when you really like broke it down and looked at it, like I felt like it was off all the way through relative to what you're talking about. Like if you're really truly like digging into it, and I think the thing that we feel like as SEC football coaches is we're the only sport that doesn't identify it. If you look at a team in baseball that goes 15-15 in the SEC, they get viewed nationally as a regional host sometimes. And that what they do by going 15-15 is certainly viewed much higher than somebody going, 26-4 in another conference. And for whatever reason, that same translation is not happening in football, even though we have twice as many active NFL players as any other conference, even though people who have been in SEC environments can surely identify that the majority of our environments are, especially when you talk the middle to the bottom, significantly higher than any other conference. And we know it as coaches. Like, we know how hard it is to go to Florida and win. And so when you say, and not to take their side because I never would, but like, oh, just win that game. Well, no, it does. Last year, take Notre Dame off the schedule and put whoever on it, and that's a win. It only seems like wins matter. And if you put a team out that you can win and control the game, then all of your offensive and defensive analytics look better. And, well, that's all based on who you play.
Will they overcorrect, you think? I mean, I feel like every year there's this overreaction and overcorrection, I should say, not reaction. So, and I don't even know if going to 16 teams is the fix here. It's still the same issues.
Yeah. What's, and again, I do understand the challenge, right? It's extremely challenging, but I've worded it this way. You know, if you create a race, you can make yourself look really fast or really slow based on the 3 people you line up and run against, right? And you're still the same speed. That's a hard thing for people to identify, but that's a reality. And so I just think it's hard to identify the different conferences because there's not enough crossover. There's not enough of those games being played to build enough data points for people to feel comfortable using, because there's only 2-3 out of conference games for each team. It's a really, really challenging proposition to identify how you identify strength of record.
I want to, before we go, kick over to the offense moving forward. I mean, beyond the season. I'm not asking you to reveal your
game plan for next week.
But
against an unknown opponent.
No, I mean, I'm talking about reveal your decision on what you're doing offensively. But how important is it for you, based on the jump this group made from year 1 to year 2, and based on all the reasons you hired Collin? How important is it for you to kind of keep, as best you can, that style, that way of playing football going to complement what you do defensively and what you want in the program?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of levels to that. I think first of all, philosophically, we have a vision of what Texas A&M offense will look like, and that was a shared vision that Collin and I had. That's what made Collin so attractive to go hire. That's what made him attracted to come here. And so it's not like, and I've said this to recruits and to players in our own building, I'm not sitting in an office completely unaware of what we're doing on offense. And that's not to take credit for, like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I'm very aware of philosophically what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. And so I think that's important for people to know. I think just because we're not really loud publicly about who we're talking to or chasing or any of those things doesn't mean we're not deep in thought and examining all possibilities to figure out what the absolute best thing is for Texas A&M football moving forward. And that process, again, started long before people publicly knew what was going on, because I was aware of what was going on and even, have ideas that, he's going to be a guy that's coveted going into this market, even before there's action. And so it's not as though like we're reacting to this now. We've been pretty well prepped and prepared for it. And then I just think that, everything you do has risk. And I think that sometimes people don't identify that part of it, right? And so it's always really cool to go out and get, a big, cool name, because that, puts everyone at ease because it's a big, cool name. But you can look across the country, and not to call anybody out, but like there have been some big, cool names go to some places and it doesn't work out quite the way it's perceived to work out
here.
And it is what it is. And so my job is to do what I believe is the absolute best thing for Texas A&M football. I said that when they hired me. I said the reason why we'll have success here is because I'll be the first person who comes in here and doesn't listen to TexAgs. I joke, but there's a truth to it. Like, I know more about who the right people are. And it doesn't mean I'm always going to be right. It doesn't. I'll be wrong, and I've been wrong, and I'll continue to be wrong, and I won't be perfect. I never will be. But I am more knowledgeable about this thing. And so I'll go through the process that I think is the right process to go through, and we'll get this thing done the way it needs to get done.
Okay, before we go.
That includes Nuño and all of his opinions.
And Olin, and then your boy Brawny. So there's a lot of opinions.
And listen, I joke, and just so that people, since I'm on the TexAgs set, like I joke, but I'm very aware of this fact too. You don't get 108,000 people to come support your football program with the level of intensity that we do here at Texas A&M without having a passionate fan base that's going to have a lot of opinions on what you do. Like it comes with so given the choice of the fan base and the popularity that we have as a program, like I'm taking this.
They're going to talk
I'm taking this 100 times out of 100 because I've been on the other side of it. And so I appreciate what it's all about. I do. But we're going to do what we think is right, and hopefully we're going to wind up on the right side of that more times than not.
Without question. And then finally, speaking of coming out on the right side of things, you had the press conference Wednesday, Thursday, added one more addition to the class, and Carson Baker, running back. Tell us a little bit about that, him as a player and what he's bringing, because I was so excited already, KJ Edwards, and then it just kind of, you just went to a whole nother level when you go out and add one of the other top running backs in the country.
Yeah, so I think we have a lot of really strong recruiters on our staff, obviously, but I think Trooper Taylor's ability to build relationships is elite, and I think it's elite when you look at it across the country. And so we really only recruited 3 backs in this cycle that we felt like could really help us. And this is going all the way back. I visited 3 running backs back in last January. It was Jonathan Hatton, it was KJ Edwards, and it was Carson Baker. And at the time when things started trending a certain way for the 2 in-state kids, we had a really open and direct conversation with Carson to say, hey, listen, like this is where things are trending. You probably need to make sure you protect yourself because it looks like we're gonna land the 2 kids in Texas, and that's just kind of how it's gonna go. And so, Jonathan does what he does, and all respect to every family for making the decision that they think is right for them. And at that time, it just so happens that Carson kind of gets back out on the market because of the coaching change at Florida, and we're able to get back in there, and the relationship and trust with Coach Troop is so strong, that we're able to kind of get that one done in a really short period of time at the close.
And then as a running back, talk about his.
I think he's elite. I think when you talk about us, the fact that we only recruited 3 kids in the country, we felt like those were the 3 elite backs in the country, and for us to get 2 of the 3 from our evaluation, I think he's powerful. I think he's got elite track speed. I think he can hit home runs. I think he'll grow even a little bit more than he is and probably play around 210 and be a little bit more of a physical SEC back. And obviously adding him and KJ this year with Jamarian and Tiger last year, I think that is 4 really, really talented backs, and I think the stable is looking really, really strong.
And speaking of speed, you go into Houston and later in the cycle and get Warren. I think with the guys that were already in the class, everybody was so excited about those receivers, and rightfully so. A late add there, that is elite speed. That when you talk elite. About track speed, that's elite, like eye-catching.
Yeah, and I said it in the press conference. When you start talking about like 6'1" plus, 190, 195 plus, sub 10.2. That's rare. You can count yourself on a very small amount of fingers how many of those that are out there, and he's an extremely talented player. He's also a phenomenal kid, and like I said this to him on multiple occasions, I appreciated how hard it was for him to switch, because of this character, because of his loyalty, because of a lot of those types of things, and the chase made it even more exciting to ultimately get him, because you see some of these kids that are just so quick to change their mind and flip and do this and then you kind of you get excited, but then there's a part of you that's always like, oh, okay, if she cheated on it doesn't really only stop there. But I appreciated their family. I appreciated how they went through it. It was a really, really cool deal. As we continued to recruit him through it, and really glad he's an Aggie for sure.
Mike, as we let you go, what does the next week and change look like?
Yeah.
Obviously, Sunday is going to be a big day, and then just moving forward.
Yeah, so we'll do a watch party Sunday. So we'll get the whole team together Sunday morning and kind of identify where we're at and where we're going. And then we'll get back to work Monday, and really next week will kind of be about essentially like fall camp to some degree. And we've always done that when you talk about like these long layoffs of just getting out there and playing fast physical football against each other and making sure that we're setting the pads and the fundamentals the right way so that we don't lose the speed of the game. And then depending on Friday or Saturday, we'll start transitioning next weekend into, game week prep and start preparing for a playoff home game here at Kyle Field.
Thank you so much for coming.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. It's always great to be over here.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
The great Mike Elko. We'll hit a break. We'll come back in a few. It's TexAgs Live. I didn't want to say this when Coach Elko was here, but like, God, he is so cool. He's great. I've had the luxury of knowing a lot of head coaches in my career, and he's, if not number one, he's 1A. Like he's just to deal with. I'm talking about from a football perspective. I mean, I got Coach Henry, I got Coach Morrison, I got Coach Ford, I got Coach Taylor, I got them all. Right, Bucky's been great so far. Sounds like the promo, but or the intro. From a football perspective, it's a different breed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's an intensity that comes with it.
Yeah.
I've mentioned Bill O'Brien. I've mentioned Gary Kubiak, who was great,
Yeah.
by the way. I've mentioned in just other sports, Mike D'Antoni. I've gotten the cover of Tom Herman. I got the cover of Tom Herman, Colt McCoy, excuse me, Major Applewhite. I've gotten to cover some interesting personalities. And Coach Elko, from before the interview and even stayed in the studio afterwards, just as relatable and as cool as can be. So I appreciate his time and his candor, and he answers all questions.
Yeah, he answers any question presented to him, and he's a very down-to-earth guy, which a lot of people listening in the YouTube page commented about a lot. My favorite comment was, you hear McAfee talk about how Mike Elko has a big brain. I can see his point in the interview. Smart man.
Yeah, he's smart. He processes what you ask, and it's the fact that we work at TexAgs. I think we are the biggest independent fan site. And when I say fan site, I think that is just part of what we do. We are I think all sites are fan sites at the end of the day, right? All sites allow you to comment somewhere, right? Like on stories or whatever. But for him to spend his last 40 minutes, and not give us a time limit, just talk, go through these questions, is you don't get that. You don't get that often.
Yeah.
A couple of things that I really liked was when I asked about the history hurting A&M, he didn't shy away from it, right? He's like, I knew what I was getting into when I got here. In the last 20 years, we have underperformed as opposed to overperformed, and the only way that changes is with winning. And I do think this team will get a bump up next year if they're in the same category. I do believe that to be the case.
Yeah, it's easy for a coach, especially a coach like Mike Elko, coaching an 11-1 football team, to give you what people call coach speak, where he just gives very vanilla answers. But no, that question specifically, like, he was very straightforward with, I know we get called. I mean, he didn't say this, but like Texas 8-4 was a big thing being thrown around. Like, he was straight up like, I understand the fan base hasn't been happy with what we've been doing. Like, he gives very straightforward answers, and you don't see that a lot from power head coaches.
The other thing I thought was great, and was he incorporated TexAgs in his thinking. He's not going to listen to TexAgs, but he also recognizes that that's the beauty of this place, not this company in particular, but just being an Aggie. And 108,000 fans are there because of their passion, because they're going to get angry at a certain call on 4th and 1, or they're going to be angry about a loss, or they're going to go crazy over a win, right? Like, that comes with the territory. He doesn't shy away from it, but he's going to follow his core values, what he thinks is right, and not allow any meddling thoughts to interfere with his coaching decisions. So, look, it was an awesome interview, and we appreciate his time. What we'll do is we'll get back on track. We'll get back on track. Maybe we'll have Billy come back, and I got a couple topics that I wanted to get into with Billy anyway. And if not, we'll just go through them ourselves, right? Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you're a business owner and you're ready to take your operation to the next level, let Caldwell Country Chevrolet be the place that helps you find your vehicle, because they have an expanded selection of commercial vehicles, everything from the surface body trucks to the medium duty to the big ones, right? They have it all. They have the muscle to help you with your business demands. And they are definitely a business elite dealer, which means they know what it keeps to keep your company moving forward. And every commercial vehicle and every vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet comes with that legendary free oil change for life, because they believe in supporting local businesses just like they support A&M athletics. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan, to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. So let's, for a moment, and we can open it up to the callers and the texters, 979-693-1150. If you call it, we'll pick it up on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. So in hearing what Coach Elko said about, the 9, well, we're talking more about we're talking about SEC scheduling with the 9 games moving forward and what these committees value and what they don't value. What does the SEC do? Like, does Greg Sankey, you know what? I don't need to play ball with you guys. Like, I played ball with you. I did the 9th schedule for you, and I feel like we were penalized for playing ball. And all right, so you're gonna teams aren't gonna schedule these non-conference games. We don't have to play 9 games. Or is there? Because what I told Coach Elko, I don't think necessarily moving the 16 fixes it. It helps more teams get in, sure, but I don't think it fixes the way they look at you. You almost force the SEC to go to 9 games in order to potentially move to 16 anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like that was kind of the thinking behind it. What does that do moving forward after these teams, Vanderbilt feeling they got screwed, Texas to a lesser degree feeling they got screwed. Mm-hmm. They feel it in the same degree, but I think there's less of an argument there.
Yeah,
because
they're
of the
more
third
vocal
loss.
about it.
Right. No, but I mean, it's because of the third loss, right? But who would have ever thought a year where an SEC team, and those who want to say the SEC isn't as good, okay, an SEC team going 10-2 doesn't get into the playoffs.
Yeah. People would have called you crazy.
Yeah, like I would. Guys, I'm of the opinion that A&M doesn't get into the playoffs if they lost that South Carolina game.
No. I agree with you. I don't think they do because that's a tough loss to try and overcome to a South Carolina team.
You're saying losing to a bad team is a tough loss to overcome, even with 2 losses?
Yeah.
Much less 3.
Yeah. I mean, when you lose to a team that's not bowl eligible, you have to feel the hurt from losing that game. You can't just throw it away.
No, and from an A&M perspective, they scheduled a very tough non-conference game, right? Very tough. And I know next year Arizona State, I don't even know what they're going to look like next year. I haven't done a deep dive, but like these are considered. Arizona State's not of the ilk of a Notre Dame, a program of wins. I understand that, but these Power 4 games where you do this home and home, where they come here, then the next year A&M will go to Arizona State. Are they going to go away? Well, if you do a 9-game SEC schedule, which is what they're going to do next year, then I do think we're going to see a lot less of it. Now, I do know that aren't there some bylaws though that say you have to schedule? It just won't be Notre Dame. It'll be
Yeah. So. I mean, I talked to my dad about this a lot, but like the SEC does require you to play a Power 4 team or Notre Dame as a non-conference game. So I think you're going to see in the future, if the SEC makes that still a requirement.
Rutgers!
Yeah, you're going to see teams be like, yeah, I'm not going to go play Ohio State and Columbus. I'll go play Rutgers. I'll go play a Virginia Tech like South Carolina and Vanderbilt both did. You take a lower level Power 4 school over the marquee matchup like a Notre Dame or an Ohio State or whoever that may be. I think you'll see teams, if that rule is still in place, I think you'll see teams dip to the lower tier power conferences to fill that.
While I don't think the committee is going to make changes because they've had a change of thought and thinking, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that they're going to go to the meeting and be like, you know what, now you mention it, and it probably should be 6. Like I didn't think about that, but or they should be 5. I don't think that's going to happen at all.
No.
But I ask you, why won't it happen? Why not?
Yeah.
This is not like a law, right? It's a committee. They discuss things. Hey, I think for the Christmas party we should do it at this place. And then a week later, hey, I got a better idea. I think we should do it here. Let's do it. We all change. Why does it have to be like? And again, I know there's not an advocate for A&M in that room. I know Hunter Yurachek. Maybe we should change his name. Yurachak. Yurachop. Maybe Yurachop has a change. I don't know. Like they're not going to, but nothing says that they can't.
Yeah, I think at this point you can't really put anything past the committee. They've kind of proven that. But yeah, I don't think in 1 week really a whole lot is going to change, especially for a team like A&M or Ole Miss who are idle this week. They're not playing. Like, are they really after 1 week going to be like, hey, you know what? I think we need to flip the rankings around. I don't like where we put this team. After watching them not play a game, you ignored the other 12 games that they played, and now the week that they're not playing, you're like, I think we messed up there. I don't think that's realistic, but again, this is the committee we're talking about, so you never know.
Durham sends in a message. So, guys, do we pull for BYU or Tech? I think we pull for BYU.
I think you pull for BYU.
I don't think it matters, though.
Yeah, because if Texas Tech wins, then what? Like, you don't go anywhere. If BYU wins, then now all of a sudden you're comparing an 11-1 A&M to an 11-2 Texas Tech.
And to a 12-1.
Yeah, and to a 12-1 BYU. So you open that gate, but I don't know.
But BYU's loss and win.
Yeah.
Best win and best loss would be to
only loss and best win would be to the exact same team.
Top 4 at the time team.
Yeah, and that's the thing the committee likes to talk about. We're not going to penalize you for playing your conference championship game, but you start to look at Texas Tech, and I think they did the same thing with A&M. After they lose a game late, you start to look back and be like, okay, this is a team that lost to Arizona State. Now I know they were on their backup quarterback, but you still have to evaluate the team as that, and then who knows? But I think to answer the question, I think you pull for BYU because I think you have a better chance of jumping up to 6 and then Texas Tech going to 7.
By the way, I don't want the committee. I said it with so much disregard for the committee. I don't want them to. Okay, first off, this is what I really want. I want them to help A&M. That's what I want. Like, if we're talking about once, taking a step back from my desires for A&M, I don't want the committees to make major changes based on what happens in a conference championship game. Major changes, right? Like, I don't want that to be the case. So, for instance, if Bama is in today, I don't think they should be out if they lose. I understand that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But I don't think because as OB said yesterday on the show, then don't play in the championship game. Hey, we'll just give our spot to somebody else. Go ahead, right?
Hey, A&M, you can take our spot
right
now.
And they gladly go tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want that to be the case. But I do think some some musical chairs is what we need to see with some of the shakeups. That's why at the beginning of the show, I had that thought, like, whatever we think we know, we don't really know. We don't know what Sunday is going to look like. It's always different. March Madness never goes the way people say.
No.
It's never the matchup you think it is, right? It's just, it is just like, we see this thing, you get a little bit of clarity because they released the 12 teams. You're like, okay, I kind of get it. They're going to play Notre Dame or Alabama, but if Alabama loses, maybe not. It moves things around, yada, yada. Like, we don't know, which is why I'm a big believer that when it does finally come out, not that I think they're going to move up to 4 or 5, but I just don't think we know what 10 is going to look like. I just don't.
Yeah, and that 10 could be 5 different teams when you start to look at it. And then you also aren't sure if A&M's going to sit at number 7, depending on what A&M could jump to number 6. They could fall to number 8. I don't think they're going to fall to number 9, but you can start to pull all sorts of different hypotheticals. And I think that's kind of the door you opened when you went to 12, was you opened up a door to have conversations like this of, well, this could happen, and then this team could do yada, yada, yada. So who knows? Well, like you said, when you think you know something else happens, and this is a group of different people, different personalities, different relations. Who knows what they could come up with on Sunday.
I'm going to read this text before we hit a break. Figurine champ. God brought the heat.
OB.
No, not that one.
Oh.
No, this one's a better one. Billy needs to back up Brink's truck. Nuño and OB are elite.
So he's still talking about OB.
Yeah, but I was brought in.
There. You were in there.
Finally made the cut.
Nuño mention.
Finally made the cut. And I'll throw in Nick Savage on there. Make sure Nick Savage gets a little bit
show love
of
to
that.
Nick Savage.
All right, we'll hit a break. Come back with our final segment. Let's do this. Call us. We'll chat because I don't know if Billy's coming. 979-693-1150. Right now, if your organization or your business is looking for an opportunity to help out and engage with Aggies, then you need to check out the Association of Former Students. They bring Aggies of all ages together during their marquee events held throughout the year. Aggie Ring Day is one of them. All Aggie Hullabaloo, the gathering. They all welcome tens of thousands of guests and there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. And these events offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to get your brand in front of these attendees. There's also advertising opportunities in the Texas Aggie magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for over 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorship@aggienetwork.com. Final segment of the program. The tap dancing continues. This TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm going to pull the old switcheroo on you.
All right.
Or we're going to read some text in a second. Right? Okay. But I'm going to just see what Nick Savage is thinking right now.
That's a good idea.
He always, look at his face. He's always got a football thought on his head.
It's always, the brain's always going.
It's kind of like Kevin Spacey before he went crazy, right? Like, well, maybe he was always crazy. Like in A Beautiful Mind, his mind is working.
Yep.
I think Kevin Spacey had issues in that movie too.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nick Savage.
Hey, is it? I don't know. Yeah, Mike Elko, I agree with y'all's sentiment. Great to work with on a production side of things as well. Really easy. But yeah, great conversation. I like the question you asked him about where does he think the playoffs are going to go from here, I don't really know. I don't think any of us know. I kind of agree with what Aaron Torres said yesterday in terms of, or he didn't really say it, he mentioned it. He's tweeted a lot about it, but I agree with him in terms of getting rid of the conference championship game just because it feels so kind of meaningless. I guess I don't know, maybe y'all can argue with me on this, but it feels every year it's like, well, we know Indiana, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, they're all in. We know Texas Tech is in. Well, if they lose, maybe not. But I don't know. That just seems like if they got rid of that with the added conference game for the SEC, a lot of conferences already playing 9 games, that it might make the picture a little bit clearer. But maybe I'm way wrong. Maybe I don't know.
Wait, so excuse the ignorance because these rules change all the time. Didn't they? Last year, the rule was if you won your conference championship, you were automatically in, right?
That's still the rule.
Yeah.
Is this still the rule? No,
Yes.
because I think if Duke wins, they're not in.
It's the 5 highest rated conference champions.
Five highest ranked conference
The
champions.
difference between last year and this year is they don't get buys. That's the main thing. But it's still the top 5 conference champions. And with Duke not being ranked in North Texas, Tulane, and JMU all being ranked, I think Duke, if they win, it's left out.
So but an ACC champion should get in, don't you think?
Should get in unless it's an 8-5 Duke team.
But A&M last year, no, they would have been,
It would have been 9-3 going into the SEC championship.
And had they won, they would have gotten in.
10-3, yeah. And they would have gotten in.
Yeah, look, here's what I really think about everything. Honestly, we'll adjust. Yeah. Whatever. Like, we used to have people voting on the freaking national champion. Okay, all right, hey, this team gets this vote, and hey, they make those noises.
Yeah, they do.
Right? We'll adjust. BCS, hey, we got a computer.
Yeah.
Like a Commodore 64. Way before you.
Yeah.
It'll spit out, your champion. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to go with 4. And it won't complain, but we'll still watch.
Yeah.
We're going to go with 4. All right, the best 4. 3 of them from the SEC. Let's go.
I think that's how the committee talks behind closed doors.
Yes.
I feel like that's,
has to be.
They do talk with, hey, pass me a little.
They're Italian now?
Yeah. In this scenario, they all
confused Italians.
Yeah. They're or maybe French. I don't know. They wear a beret. I picture them smoking cigars with like a martini, having this meeting. Hey, let's go. Texas A&M, man. Pizza pie.
6-7.
I just lost every viewer I ever
Do that
had.
again, Reese.
6-7.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That sounded more like Polly from Rocky than it sounded like, an Italian.
I'm sorry.
Maybe he was Italian. Was Polly,
sorry to disappoint.
Was Polly Italian? What's Polly's last
know.
name?
I don't know.
Google Polly's last name in Rocky. I should know this. It bugs me that I don't know it. Anyway, I'm just going to read some text messages to finish out the show. Here's one from a 979. His name is David. Great name. Lived in BCS since the 70s and have seen a lot of Aggie coaches, so I'm impressed with who Coach Elko is, and I believe it shows the heartbeat, and identity of our team. So proud of how Elko represents Aggie Nation, winning, but also winning the right way, the Aggie way. I'm glad everybody shook their head on that. Thank you very much. Madden in Houston. The SEC will be the most penalized for playing 9 conference games, and they shouldn't have moved to that model.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be penalized the most for the 9 conference games because your conference is the hardest. So that's just one more tough game you're adding to the schedule. So,
did you find Pauly's last name?
Panino.
Pauly Panino.
Yeah.
Hey, number 5 seed. Let's go.
Strike the schedule out the window.
That's more like Mighty Mouse, Mighty Mouse.
I'll give up. I'm done.
Speedy Gonzalez is more. Google Speedy Gonzalez. You know what he looks like?
I know.
Familiar with this game?
Yeah.
All right. So now that I try to class up the joint on Sunday, I believe we will do a luchador.
What?
I believe it'll be good.
Yeah.
I believe it'll be long.
Let's go.
I think it'll be very strong.
Huzzah.
All right. That's going to do it for TexAgs live here on a Friday. My thanks to SEC Mike. My thanks to Olin Buchanan. My thanks to Billy Liucci and our main guest, Mike Elko, our coach.
Big dog.
Hey, we're going to go do a break. We'll see you mañana or Monday or Sunday, something.